Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on Shakespears Sister debut album called Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart was released in 1989. Every 10 or 20 albums that I do, I always try to choose an album that I don't know too well, or never heard before from an artist that I've wanted to check out, or maybe I liked a song here or there, or just an album that I don't know, but it's something from I'm still going through, for most part, 70s, 80s, and then the early 90s, maybe a little bit of 90s here and there, but for the most part, it's from when I was born to when roughly like 17, 16, somewhere around there. So artists in that period that I know, or that I have, or whatnot. And this particular album, my experience with Shakespears Sister is, obviously everybody remembers the single "Stay," which was a really good song. It was nice to hear something different and unique on the pop radio, and that song did really well. In fact, I think it was probably a top 10 song in UK, and it did fairly well over here in America as well. But she's kind of considered a one-hit wonder, and I think she has a good voice, and I do like that song. So I thought I'd check out her debut album and review it here, and just kind of take a chance on it and check it out. And I was excited to hear that Alan Moulder produced it, who I think is a good remixer and producer for the most part. Um, I've found a couple things recently that he produced, and I was a little bit disappointed in, because maybe his beats or his production, or I don't know how much he did with the music part. Um, but sometimes it felt maybe a little bit more aggressive, or maybe it doesn't work with the artist voice as much as possible. Maybe there's an opportunity there, but I do feel a little bit of that in this album. They're really trying to. It seems like they're really trying to find what type of style, because she has such a unique voice, and it seems like they're really trying to try different songs and see where her voice really works, and see, and sort of go from there. And they're kind of throwing everything to the wind in here. It seems like, obviously, there's some dance songs in here. There's some alternative rock in here. Sometimes it almost sounds like the song's going to be a country song, in a way, with her. She has a little bit of twang on her voice, and there's a cover song on here of it's, for the most part, it's a dance song cover of "Could You Be Loved" by Bob Marley. But so it just seems like they're throwing everything at the wind, and then there's 13 tracks to boot, which is kind of fairly long for a pop album. It's just it's not necessarily long on length. I don't think there's any song over like 4.5 minutes, but 13 songs is a lot for any pop album. And so you run the risk of some more bad tracks in there, some more good tracks, but sometimes it's hard to get through a 13 track album. It's when you're pushing, I don't know, it's not necessarily like, I guess it's over 50 minutes, but it's just 13 tracks is a little bit long for a pop album. And then sort of a dance album as well. It's kind of a lot. So the sound of the overall album is, for the most part, again, is kind of synth pop, dance. There's a little bit harder beats. I think there's a couple songs that do a good job with some strings, and I don't know, maybe some odd choices on vocal direction for her voice. Maybe a couple songs have like background singers that don't necessarily work too well. But overall, obviously she has a really good voice, or a really unique voice. Her voice is really haunting in some ways, and I don't think the music uh, really supports the opportunity of her voice as much as they can. It's tough because it's 1989, and there's so many female singers that are doing really well in 1989 in the charts, and most of them are dance music. Think of like 1989 of probably like Expose and Taylor Dane and Jodie Watley and Janet Jackson and Madonna, and there's so many, Gloria Estefan, Taylor Dane, I think I already said that, Kathy Dennis. There's just so many female singers that are doing really well, and most of them are dance music. So I feel like because this is around there, and Alan Mulder is a dance producer, that this may have went a little bit too dancey, and I don't know if it really sounds like a dated album. It doesn't. There's some catchy music on, and quite a bit of it is catchy music. Even the songs that I don't like necessarily are catchy, but in a pop way. But it's just when you think of like "Stay" and the powerful track that is, and you think of like alternative music in general. It just seems like a missed opportunity with her kind of voice to do something different. I think of like Cocteau Twins and Mortal Kombat, Mortal Coil, and even Swing Out Sister, who I reviewed, last month. Like even that, like maybe a jazz fusion a little bit with dance and sort of, a different kind of alternative style of music. It's just, I don't know if this was quite the right pick for Alan Mulder to produce this, but again, I don't know too much what he had involved with it. I just think it's not the right direction for her voice, and it's just too many dance songs, and a lot of them sound a little similar. My favorite tracks are Heaven in Your Arms and Sacred Heart. Those are my two favorite tracks. When I did play this album, and I played this album for the first time about a week and a half ago, when I first reviewed it. And before I did this review, I wanted to listen to it again to make sure that I felt more accurate and it was fresh in my mind to do this review, because I need to do a better job of that. Of sometimes I'll review an album and then I'll get to it a week later and I'll miss some of the things that I want to say. So I need to recap it, or at least get a better view of, to make the review better and at least more interesting for you and for myself to to have something more to say, and probably something a little bit more Wordsworth and thorough, and just kind of keeping it fresh in my mind. So I revisited this album again, and I scored it a little bit better, but not much, and so I felt pretty accurate with my original thought and score on this album, because I didn't change it. I changed it 1 point overall on the album, so for the better. But and that was me redoing all the tracks and not really saying, it's a little bit better than it. I reviewed all the tracks again and scored them again just to make sure, and compare them with my original one, and just to make myself feel like I was thorough and respectful of the music, and give it the best review I could. But yeah, those are my favorite two songs, Sacred Heart and Leave in Your Arms. These are better songs. If you listen to those songs, they capture her voice better. They're smoother. They're not so rushed and over the top, kind of dancey, and just kind of a strange. Sometimes she does have her vocal just isn't that well recorded. Sometimes there's the last track, You Made Me Come to This. She does a background vocal, and where she's speaking over the top of the song, and it doesn't work with the song at all. So that's, so sometimes her voice choices of what to do in the song, or the direction of them, I don't think are the best either. But at times there's some good vocals, like Run Silent, the track that track's good as far as the vocals. There's some good melodies, some for the most part, there's good choruses, they're catchy again. But the smoother tracks are my favorite for sure, those two tracks. As far as the opportunity, it just doesn't fully fit into, again, it sort of doesn't fit fully her voice and the direction really into a dance album sometimes. Like sometimes it works and sometimes it makes sense, but it just seems like a missed opportunity again. possibly some poor choices. There's a couple songs that aren't very good at all. Um, Electric Moon and Red Rocket, Primitive Love. Those three tracks really kind of don't do much for me. In fact, if you took those off, you'd have 10 tracks. So I think anybody with any good producer around this time probably would have been. I just said I like Alan Mulder, and then I just said any good producer. But I feel like somebody should have stepped in and be like, let's take a few tracks off here and let's choose some tracks and fine tune this album, because I think anybody could listen to this album and easily choose three tracks that they don't necessarily think are that good, and the album would be a lot better. Um, the vocals are also recorded a little bit loud on at times as well. As far as going into the tracks, Heroin, 1.5 stars. Run Silent, 2 stars. Dirty Mind, 1 3/4 stars. Sacred Heart, again, I like. It's catchy, nice melody combined with the guitar. The beat and the music isn't over the top. Her voice fits really well in the song. This is a good example of what could have been done with her voice. I have it 3 stars. Also, Heaven is in Your Arms. I feel like is the most complete song on here. Very smooth. I give it 3 1/4 stars. Highest rated song on the album. Twist the Knife. See, this is the kind of thing that I kind of speaking to, and it's catchy, it's dancey, but it's, I don't know, it's kind of like verging on like R&B, and I don't know. I don't know if she's trying to be Madonna on here. Like it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. I give it 1.5 stars though. I mean, it's close to being good. Your History, I do like a little bit better, 2 1/4 stars. It's catchy, but even this one that I sort of like a little bit, it sounds like a commercial or like an ad, like some kind of like detergent ad. It just sounds like a douche commercial or something. I don't know. I don't know. I feel bad saying that, but the last track, You Made Me Come to This, it feels like kind of like a douche commercial. Um, there was a douche commercial that they did a couple. Well, maybe it was more than a few years ago, where it used like a high energy rave track for it. And I think it was like Summer's Eve or something. And it was just like, and I was like, this used to be a rave song. It was one of those kind of like Belgian kind of Antler. If you remember Antler Subway records, then you know what I'm talking about. But I think it might have been like Oxy, like I Have a Feeling. But it just it's just kind of like one of those like commercials where you're just like, why are they singing about this product? Anyways, Break My Heart, 2 stars. A little bit better, but still kind of on the dancey side. Red Rocket is kind of a funny song. It's kind of 1.5 stars, but it sounds like there's a guy singing on the back. Forgive me if I don't know his name, but he sounds kind of like Clarence Carter. And if you guys know who Clarence Carter is, he's kind of singing in the background. He's singing about a red rocket. I don't know. You take it for what it's worth. It's kind of weird, and it's kind of funny because I call my niece's daughter Red Rocket. Her dog Red Rocket, because he's always really happy. Anyways, Electric Moon, 1/2 star. Oh, sorry, Red Rocket, 1.5 stars. It is a catchy song, but it's kind of, I don't know. Electric Moon, it's not good. 1/2 star. Primitive Love, not good. 1/2 star. It sounds like Missionary Man by Eurythmics. I don't know. Could You Be Loved? I did change this track a little bit and gave it some more credit. The chorus works. It's a little bit dancey song, but it's light dancey, and it kind of works with the. I mean, Could You Be Loved? Like, it's a great chorus, so how could you mess it up? And she has a good voice, so it's a hard track to mess up. The cheese factor is a little high, but not extremely high. But it works for just some random cover song where you play, where like, oh, that's kind of a clever cover song of Bob Marley. It's not bad. It's 2 1/4 stars. And then it ends with You Made Me Come to This, which again wasn't a fantastic track. I gave it 1.25 stars. So overall, 23 stars divided by 13 was a 1.76. I gave the album a 45. It's kind of below par. I can't really say it's okay. I think if it took off the three songs that I like least, it averages out to be an okay album. It would be in the 50s at least, low 50s, but you know, I tried to give it a chance, and I took two good songs away from it that I didn't know before, so I'm happy. Like spending an hour or two and reviewing this and listening to this, I don't mind. I mean, I got two good songs out of it, so and that's two songs I didn't know that were good songs before I started this. So yeah, I'll probably never play this album again, but I'll play those two songs randomly, on a playlist or put them into some kind of 80s playlist or something like that. So I'm happy that I got a chance to listen to it. I'll probably check out her second album too, hoping that the direction is better, because I think the second album is the one that has "Stay" on it. So maybe I do know the other single on there. I can't remember it by name, but there was sort of a second single that did okay. Um, but here in America, anyways, I know in Europe they were like, especially that album did really well. I think they were up for like, didn't they win like album of the year or something like that? I can't remember, but um, they might have won artist of the year if in their I can't think of their awards. It's not the Ivor Awards, but it's can't think of the British awards, kind of like the Grammys, but yeah. Anyways, I think they won like album of the year for that album. It might have been even went to like number one, but it was really highly regarded. But there's a second single I do remember as well. But I'll definitely check out that album and give them a second chance as far as like hopefully the direction of her voice works with the music better. But yeah, 45 out of 100, just subpar album. Not very good overall. Got a couple good songs out of it, so I'm happy. All right, thanks so much. Oh, curious, what are your thoughts about the album? And am I way off guard, or do you like the album, or what would you score it? All right, thanks so much.